believe we are live. Are you early? No, you're here on time, and I'm on time for once, so that's kind of early, I guess. Technically, that's kind of sort of early. Let's send out some live notifications, and then we can get to this. Howdy, Maker Viking. Welcome, welcome. Ah, shit. Ruby just called. My boss always says, if you're on time, you're late. I hate bosses like that. Never been a fan, but hey. Welcome in, everybody. Zachary Taylor, hello. Randy, hello. All right. I'm just sending out live notifications. Live now. Bloop. And same thing on Discord. And then we'll be ready to rock. Announcements, stream. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Okay. We are good to roll, I guess. Oh, one of the best live streams on YouTube. Thank you very much for that. LTX Design, Robot Overlord, welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. And I'm speech to texting Ruby right now by accident. Whatever. All right, folks, today we are continuing the VZ bot build. So, yeah. VZ bot build. Can't really see. Let's move that out of the way. Okay, there's a few things I did. Have you thought of Floatplane? Floatplane is invite only, to my knowledge. Floatplane is invite only. I guess I could reach out. I have minimal I have a couple of people at LTT I can talk to, but no, I have not considered it. Blatantly honest, my support through Patreon and YouTube memberships is like, I seriously very, very much appreciate each and every one of you who supports through YouTube memberships or Patreon. Seriously, it means a lot. But the numbers aren't so big that I would think it would justify me being on Floatplane or something like that. Just not enough people paying to support what I do. Full transparency. So, I think I need to be a bit bigger for that. Trying to remember where I was at. Okay, since the last stream, I did do a few things on this. Nothing major. Nothing I felt would be like, oh no, you folks have to see this on stream. So I replaced the printed parts that came with the gantry. The gantry comes with PLA parts printed in it. It comes fully assembled, the gantry, but the parts that are in it are PLA. I guess just to make it easier for transport, and then they expect you to print. I mean, realistically, you could assemble the machine with PLA parts, print ASA replacements, and it'll probably last long enough to get the ABS or ASA replacement parts printed and then rebuild it with those, which is silly to do, but you could. Anyway, point being, I replaced all of the PLA parts with ASA, Galaxy Red ASA parts from Polymaker that I printed, some of which I hadn't printed before stream because I had printed some of these parts in black. I don't know why, so I reprinted them in red last week. And what else did I do? I also, linear rails. That was the other thing I did. The linear rails were not greased. So the linear rails were not greased in this thing. They were raw, just ready to roll. Anyone who's experienced PLA creeping is shocked right now. I mean, realistically, the printed parts in this build aren't under a major load. it's mostly CNC machined. Like almost the only things that are printed are the red parts you see. They're basically spacer pieces. So yes, they serve a purpose, and I would not run them long term, but I'm fairly sure you could get away with getting a print, like just the amount of prints you need to get done on this machine with the PLA parts. I wouldn't go further than that, but I think you could do it. Raw dog and the linear rails. Yeah, so they were not greased. The linear rails were not greased when it shipped. So I had to pull off the Y rails. I had to remove them from the machine and grease them out on the bench. So I cleaned them up and greased them as I would any other machine using my mini grease gun, using a mini grease gun and some Mobilux EP2 grease. So I greased those, put them back in. And when I put them back in, I also did something I don't usually do, which is I filled all of the holes. Linear rails, we usually like skip every other hole when bolting them on. These use hammerheads to attach to the extrusions. Aaron, welcome in. Yeah, so these use hammerheads to attach to the extrusions. So I had more hammerheads and M3 screws, so I just filled all of them. I figured for the Y-axis that's not moving, it's not adding weight to the moving components, why not? Curious, I don't think I'll ever notice a difference, and I never would have run it before, but hey, whatever. I give it a try, see if it makes any difference. I truly doubt it. The X-axis is a carbon fiber rod in here. Let me see if the OBSBot's working. I can get a different view on things. Hi. OBSBot camera. Start the virtual cam. Hi. Looking up my nose, but there you are. So actually, here's a good perspective. So the X-axis gantry is a carbon fiber tube on this with a MGN9 rail on top of it. By the way, I don't think I mentioned at any point, all of the linear rails and the motors in this are LDO motors. I was kind of surprised to see the linear rails are from LDO as well, but they are. So for the X-axis, all I did is I reached up in here, I took out one nut and screw, and then I was able to grease through there to get this. So I didn't have to disassemble the X-axis to grease it. So got that greased as well. Realistically, for the highest speed application, this probably shouldn't have been greased, but you know, I'd rather it last a little longer and lose a hair of top speed. So that's just me. There's definitely a noticeable difference in the drag. I would say these are like Z0 rails. From Sunday till today, I've tried to use Fusion to learn it. You make it look easy. Thank you. Sorry to say that. Sorry to hear that, I guess, but thank you. But yeah. Lose some top speed, but gain some damping. That makes sense. So, is what it is. I'd rather the machine last me a long time and I lose a little bit of speed. Whoop-de-doo, you know? So, hopefully I can use this machine in production for projects and such. So, speaking of which, I'm going to start a print on the Core 1 back there really quick. Let me load up the Core 1 real quick with a part. I guess I'll screen share real quick with you while I'm slicing this. So I'm working on the project that I hope to release Saturday, though I'm a little behind where I wanted to be, so that may not happen right now. Multi-material side handle. Boop. All right. That's there. Just slice this. So with this being a part that I want to release, project I want to release this weekend, I got to get parts printing, like printing continually. I have been for a while now, and I'm going to keep on doing. Top and bottom first layers. Topmost surface. Bottom pattern, Hilbert curve. Top pattern, Hilbert curve. Because why not be fancy with it? Why not be fancy with it? All right, and dang it. I just had a thought about what I should do here. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna multicolor this too, I think, but we'll get to that in a second. Height range modifier. Sorry, I just want to get this sliced real quick. 27. Add settings, extrusion width, external perimeter, and top solid. Both of which I want to be 0.65, 0.65. I like to make larger extrusion widths when I'm doing Hilbert curve on things to accentuate it and make it stand out a lot more, because I love the way it looks. That said, I need to swap out filament real quick. Fuzzy skin. No, not going to do fuzzy skin on this. That model is actually split. I can't, well, actually I can show it real quick. Is it true that the VZ bot is just a mod of a Tronxy X5SA? Havoc, yes and no. Yes, that is the roots of, it started off as a X5SA new Gantry with Boron 1.8Z step. That is the roots of the VZ bot. Yes, it started as a mod of an X5SA. We're a long way from that at this point, but that is where it came from. Is that a big jug of tea? I mean, it's not a big jug, but it is it's a gloop beaker of tea. Can you hide the camera and let us know what you're doing? I'm sorry, I can't see where the camera is while it's going. To have seen where you largely saw what I was changing, I think. But I mean, effectively what I changed was, this is the part I just sliced is a handle for the project that I'm working on. So I made 5 perimeters on it, 8 top and bottom layers so that the handle's solid. It's a large part. So, well, here, let me show you the sliced preview. It's a pretty, not very, but a pretty large part. Oh, I didn't change infill. It's still on cubic infill, or grid infill. I want cubic. Slice again. Go away, slice. So I used 5 walls, so it'll be good and strong. And I used 8 top and bottom layers, again, so it's good and strong. I need a stout part, because I don't want this to break while picking up hundreds of dollars worth of hardware it's going to be installed in this thing. So what I'm going to do now is do a quick color change. So I'm going to add color change, and add color change. So I want the top and the bottom to be different colors, the very top and the very bottom layers. Cool. Okay, that's better. That's largely. Oh, I'm sorry. Damn it. I was doing screen recording for a video earlier. Hi, that's not very helpful. Let's look at it closer. Sorry. Yeah, so this is the sliced part. Sorry, I was doing screen recording earlier. That's the problem. I wish I could have, like, there needs to be a way in OBS where I can have 2 completely different settings, like 2 different versions of OBS where I can just easily switch between them, a live stream version and a screen recording version, because I use them for completely different things and completely different resolutions when I do. Anyway, yeah, 40% infill, cubic. I've been using cubic infill a lot lately. It's still plenty quick. It prints really well. I don't know. I've taken to using it lately. It's my infill of the week. And 5 perimeters, 8 top and bottom layers just to make it strong. But I need to swap filament on that real quick so I can get the color change. And then we can get to work on the VZ-bot. I was designing parts right up until I realized it was like 4:45 and I had to scramble to get ready for stream. Let's get this ASA loaded on the Core 1. Load. Loading. All the strength. Yep. Scene collections and profiles. Yeah, but the problem isn't scene collections and profiles. The problem is base settings. Because I have to go into settings and change video resolution. Because I stream at 1080p, but I screen record at 4K. That's the problem. Yeah. But nice wall work, by the way. Which wall work? Install Streamlabs alongside OBS. That's not a bad idea. I used to use Streamlabs, so Adaptive Cubic has been great. It doesn't make the printer bench vibrate like Gyroid does. It's also excellent for large prints. Around the panel. I don't remember what. Oh. Yes, it now actually has a drywall and is clean. Yuck, slobs. I've used slobs. It's fine. And it's easier to get integrations with like chat popping up in stream and such than it is in regular OBS, which sometimes I think I might like to have. I don't know. I'd like to be able to like have, you know, people joining, channel memberships and super chats pop up on screen, but loading ASA. I just tried out Meld, quick and easy. OBS has a portable mode that puts the settings inside the same folder as the exe. Oh, that's interesting. What are standout features of the VZ-bot that make it interesting and or different than others? I would say the VZ-bot ships with, I mean, you can build it with printed parts, but it's fairly standard at this point for VZ-bots to be CNC machined components. So like these motor mounts, all-wheel drive. Again, you can build a two-wheel drive version, but all-wheel drive has pretty much become the standard, I think, on these. A lightweight gantry. It uses MGN 9 rail here instead of MGN 12 just to reduce weight. And super high flow hot end with the Goliath. So high speed printing. You know, high speed printing not being held back by a hot end. Purge a little more. Okay. So with that, we are on to the Z-axis on this machine. We've already got the gantry in, we got the frame in, and it's time to start putting this whole Z-axis assembly together with CNC machined base for the bed, mounts for the rods, and the motors. So we start with the lower rod mount and lead screw brackets. So, all right, I gotta grab those. Our noodle of purged filament out of there. Send that to print real quick. Resolving address, sending, cool. Okay. All right. Now I gotta find my parts. My CNC parts for this, where'd I put them? There they are. All right. Cool, beefy rails. Looks like 12mm rods for the Z-axis. 12mm rods it looks like for the Z-axis. I could be wrong. Oh, I love that Prusa Connect now does pre-warnings of filament swaps. If anybody doesn't use Prusa printers or Prusa Connect, nowadays, since the G code knows when your filament swap's going to come, like I said, an M600, so I can change filament after the first layer on that, it will pop up a notification on your phone to let you know, hey, you know, you're 5 minutes away from a pause, so you're going to want to be there for it rather than the machine just sitting there idly. I don't have a 10 millimeter. Rather than the machine just sitting there idly, they warn you, tell you. I like that. But when it's a first layer and you're changing after the first layer, which I often do, it's a detail I personally quite like when I'm coloring models. It like as soon as the print starts, it sends you a warning because it's, you know, so close. It's a nice quality of life feature. It is. It's really nice because I so often forget that that's like a color change or whatever is coming. Pausing for magnets, it'll warn you too. So it's a neat feature. Okay, we need some screws. Mount the top bracket with the 12 millimeter M4 hardware to the frame loosely. All right, let's get M4 screws out of here. We're going to use an M4. This uses M4 on a lot of the hardware, I've noticed. Hello, Helga. Welcome in, welcome in. M4 T-nuts. I think we're using spring-loaded T-nuts on this. We shall see. Hopefully I don't run out. The other thing that Prusa does now, like the Core 1 is doing right now, the print has technically started, but it's doing an absorbing heat run. So because I'm printing ASA, because I'm printing ASA, to bake the chamber and make sure that the build plate is well heated evenly across its surface. Because, you know, when you're heating a bed, your thermistor is in one point on the bed. So if it hits 110 degrees Celsius in the middle, that doesn't mean that the edges are 110 degrees Celsius. So it bakes to even out the bed temperature and the chamber temperature. And Joseph, welcome in. So right now it's got a pre-built 15-minute bake cycle built into the G code. So something new they've started, and I like. Most of the time, often I can skip it. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying when I'm running print after print, where I like the print stops, I crack the bed off, I throw the next print at it, and it'll be like, cool, I'm gonna bake. I'm like, you don't need to bake. You just finished a 4-hour print. I wish it kind of had a logic for that. I can understand why it doesn't. It's probably built into G code that causes the cycle. Oh well. You could skip it. I could easily hit a button right now and skip it, but I haven't printed anything on there since this morning, so I want it to bake. Something I'm still getting used to with the +4, it does a lot before it starts printing. Yeah. A lot of machines nowadays. A lot of machines do nowadays. Okay, so yes, roll-in T-nuts are way better than hammerheads. I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. Let me see if I can get the other camera angle. I gotta adjust it quick. All right. Cool. All right, so we got to put this bracket on this extrusion over here. So I got to get 4 M4 roll-ins in, which the roll-ins on this build are finicky. While I love roll-ins, If anybody has worked with them extensively, you know what I mean. Some just don't roll in as nicely as other ones, or some extrusions don't let them roll in quite as nicely. And that's what we're running into here. It is what it is. I'd rather, at least they can. I've had extrusions where they just don't want to roll in at all. So not going to complain about ones that at least will roll in. Would you say this is the best beginner kit? Been wanting to get into 3D printing for over a decade, finally able to get into it. No, this is definitely not the best beginner kit. Honestly, so far it is well designed and well configured, but I would say it's a little more advanced of a build in general, because like especially the instructions are not quite where I would like them to be. I talked to Simon after the last stream about some things I felt need to be improved. Excuse me. And I think a Voron Trident, or honestly, 110% full stop, Vorons are the best kit project to start with if you're going to start with a kit project. If that's the way you're getting into 3D printing, start with a Voron. Because oh yeah, Big Orange is a good beginner kit. Absolutely. Prusa, a Prusa kit is like beginner level DIY building something. Trident is the easiest Voron to build. Agreed. And it's my go-to recommendation for a starter printer. Seabor Trident, I would not recommend Seabor Trident personally. Their all-wheel drive kit. One, the all-wheel drive is adding complexity you don't need to deal with if it's your first printer build. Two, they based their all-wheel drive kit on an outdated version of, I think, a Tiny Shell Scripts all-wheel drive. They did not confer with the designers when they released that kit, and it shows. I don't know if they've worked that out at this point, but I do know when they were releasing it, I spoke to some of the folks who knew, who are involved with the all-wheel drive community, and they were not too pleased. 250 Trident would be my go-to, totally. Like a 2.4. I mean, I love 2.4s. They're just a little more complicated than Trident in the overall build process. The documentation is a big thing. On Voron, documentation is second to none. Some people I don't love Prusa documentation or Rat Rig documentation. They both use that Dozuki platform, I think. It just doesn't... my ADD makes me skip things when it comes to their documentation. It's good. It's really good. But it doesn't click well with my brain. The fourth one of these doesn't want to roll in. Prusa is changing theirs? Okay. I haven't looked as of late. Because honestly, the problem with that platform is that instructions are sometimes within pictures. So like when you click a different picture, it changes the instructions. And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it'll be like step 52, this. Step 53, this, and this. And you have to click pictures to go through it. And my ADD brain, as soon as I'm done for step 1 of 53, I'm moving on to 54. The stock Voron docs assume you're building a 250 printer. I mean, they kind of do. But I always miss stuff because of the changing pictures. Me too. It happened to me with every Prusa machine. It happened to me when I'm building the Rat Rig. Yeah. The Mark IV's instructions, upgrade instructions are way different. I don't remember. I do remember I had a really good time with the Mark IV's upgrade, but I figured I was just used to it. So I didn't register that they were different, but I believe you. I know that my Mark IV's upgrade went smoothly. So, yeah. Okay, I'm lining up the... I like to do this whenever I have roll-ins. Like I have 4 roll-ins in this frame now, but I need to line up with holes in this bracket. So I just hold the bracket next to the extrusion, and then I can slide each of the roll-ins so they're at least close to these holes. So then when I go to line them up with the holes in the bracket, boom, it's a whole lot easier. I followed along with the VCore 4 instructions with your build. I liked how they did it. Awesome. I mean, if that clicked well with you, Prusa will probably be a solid direction to go. That'll be your easiest direction to go, Prusa. How's the Fat Rig doing after the move? The Rat Rig is rocking. I haven't been printing on it because I haven't had need right now. I'd hoped to get to it this week, but I've been kind of tied up with other project stuff. And unfortunately, I may be tied up a little bit longer. I've got some big project things I'm trying to work out. But we shall see. I'm hoping to get a video on the Rat Rig real soon on the Mandic Labs channel. Little Loctite on the screw. In you go. It has to be using M3x12s. Making docks is the hardest part of development. Helga, I 1000% agree. You know, documenting things is hard. I don't envy anybody trying to do it. I really don't. But it can also make or break something too, you know? The better the documentation, the easier everything is. Less support calls, less support emails. There's a lot to it, but I do not envy anybody because everything I release, I try my best to do baby documentation on. Like I'm releasing the print that's going to be running on the Core 1 in a second is a new design that I'm releasing this week. And I'm not looking forward to documenting it. It's going to be in a video, so there's that. Problem is, if devs are doing the doc, they don't have the perspective of newbies. That is a serious problem that, yes, 1000%. That's always a problem in these more advanced things is it's hard to remember to think like somebody who doesn't already know. Or especially when you're the person, okay, you designed this. You know how it goes together, and it was your logic that designed it. So you might skip over something to you that's obvious, like this needs to go through this, or this needs to be pushed into here. And that's a very hard thing to handle. I do not envy anybody having to do it. I know the Voron team has excellent documentation. So I always tell people, I tell like every company, if they ask or whatever, look at the Voron team's instructions and model your shit after that. And more than one company, more than one person has done that. That's a weird thing I enjoy doing, testing documentation. Cool. Somebody's got to do it. Okay. Ah, crap. I didn't read. Speaking of documentation, this is my fault. I didn't read far enough. So mount the top bracket with M4 hardware to the frame loosely, then mount the sliding rods. A little bit about the way this is worded is a problem to me, but be sure to insert 2 T-nuts under the center 2 holes. I needed 6 T-nuts, not 4. Oops. That's my fault. I didn't read that whole paragraph before I started putting this together. So I get to take it back apart now. I've been doing documentation for a tool changer and it got so long so quickly. Yeah. That's like my Project Reanimator. You know, I put all the files out there. Anybody who wants to build one of those things, they got the files, they can do it. But I specifically said, I'm like, I'm not doing documentation. Like, you're on your own. Look at the CAD model because it's just too much. What's my go-to printer? At the moment, it's the Prusa Core 1. At this moment, the printer I'm using the most is the Prusa Core 1. After that, it was, before the teardown that I haven't finished yet, it was my Voron 2.4. That was my go-to printer before. And hopefully in the very, very near future will be again. I work for an industrial additive company. Internal documentation is a mess. We have to struggle through scribbles on screenshots as norm. Yeah, I believe that. What's your favorite thing you've ever printed? I honestly have no idea. I get that question from time to time. I print so much stuff and I have such ADD, out of sight, out of mind. I forget. My Voron Zero, like the printed parts for that, because it's one of my favorite printers and it got me really started with DIY printers. So I guess maybe that. How many builds do you have going at the moment? Technically three. Technically three. My Trident is still unfinished. The 2.4 is close to done, still in overhaul, and this one. So I just want to get this one done. I'm hoping, because I'm not modifying this like really in any way. This roll-in is pissing me off. It's always the last one. I'm hoping to get this one done fairly quickly so we can get back to the Trident. I'm not going to stream the finishing of the 2.4. I do intend to have a video or two on it because I wanted to make a video about the flex power supply that's in it now and 24 volt versus 48 volt on the motors. So it will be in videos for the completion of it. But, all right, let's line these up. All right. And then we will be back to the Trident. Oh, technically, I guess technically the rat rig isn't finished. It doesn't have the panels on it yet. So I guess technically, if you count that, it's a running printer. Like otherwise, if I wasn't worried about putting panels on it, it's technically finished. But I do want to put panels on it. So technically the rat rig, so 4. That's all. Only 4 in progress, and I have a positron kit to get to yet. You know, a few things. Okay, now a couple more M4x12s go into... I had recommended the... you recommended a A1 today. I mean, honestly, the A1, the Bamboo A1 is still my go-to recommendation for a starter printer for people who don't want to get into the building side of things. If they just want a printer that works, it's still my go-to recommendation for like, where did I put the screws? M3x12s or M4x12s are missing. What did I do with them? M4x20, M4x40, M4x10, roll-ins, M4x8, 12, but these aren't button head. It looks like maybe I don't want button heads there. I can't tell. I'm just going to use these for the moment. I don't know where the other ones went. Oh, there they are. Do they want SHCs or BHC? It looks like they want button heads. Needed a couple inexpensive printers for a makerspace. Honestly, that makes sense. I gave my A1 to a makerspace. Before I left Philadelphia, the A1 that I had, I gave to a makerspace near my house in Philadelphia. So. All right. My A1 Mini is my go-to printer to fix my others. I mean, hey, I get that. I get that. Okay, so there's clamps built into these. I got to put screws through, and then the rods go into those. So, screws started, now rods. Did you design a flex power mount or find them somewhere? I remixed existing ones for the flex power. So for the flex power supply, on the Armchair Engineering Discord, I found a link to on the Armchair Engineering Discord, I found a link to low profile DIN clips that I then remixed. But they could be used as they were. I just remixed them to my taste. What I did make that I didn't find from anybody else, Aaron, is the power supply support bracket. So if you've built the stock Voron, the power supply, the Meanwell, has a support bracket that ties it to the frame rail, not just to the DIN rails, and supports it so it's not only hanging on DIN rails. Because that thing's so darn heavy, I made a remix of the original Meanwell one for the Flex Power. I've got to get that released. How's the desk pad merch adventure going? I've ordered a sample, Zachary. So I ordered a sample this week. Should be in, I think it'll be in Monday or Tuesday. So working on it. Might need to snag your models. Aaron, I'm definitely going to release them. So I'll let you know. I wanted to release them in conjunction with doing the video on it. If you get to it before I release the models, just hit me up on Discord and I'll get them for you. A1 Mini specifically has one issue for me: too weak reliable flow rate. Max is 25 millimeters cubed, but for strong shiny prints, it's 6 to 8 top. Yeah, it doesn't sound crazy to me, but anodizing on that frame is really shiny. Yeah, the frame is awfully shiny, sheeny. I don't know. I don't really get what's up with that, but it is sheeny. Okay. So there is a printed bracket. So to locating this bracket, because like right now I can slide it back and forth in this extrusion, there is a printed bracket that I hold to this extrusion over here. And then, does it go to the front or the back? Be sure to use either T-nuts, blah, blah, blah. Z assembly alignment tool. Yeah, I guess it goes to the front. It must go to the front. That makes more sense. So, Z assembly alignment tool to the front. It actually doesn't say this in the instructions, mind you. It doesn't say front or rear, but I'm guessing that's what they want. And, all right. That aligns that, and I can tighten these screws. It would make sense because the tool head mounted to the front of the gantry, but clarity on that would make a little bit of sense. These are the little things about this build that I'm like, where I was mentioning to Simon, where I feel there's just like little things missing from documentation and whatever. My ball hexes, my hex drivers are getting worn out. I need to get a new set. They're getting just enough wear on them that like they're sticking in screws, which honestly, so was this bit. So maybe these screws are funky, but the Porsche is beeping at me for a filament change. Filament was unloaded. Where did I put the spool? There it is. Dang it. I don't know what it is. The spool holder on the Core 1, I like it, but often when I put a spool on it, it unwinds on me. Just ordered a couple of ball head hexes for that very reason. Yeah, I've had that same set from Matco for ages. And that's the annoying thing is if I could find a Matco person, like a Matco rep, I could probably get them all warrantied. Because where is a warranty thing with Matco tools? But I'd have to find one because I don't work in a shop anymore. All right, purging filament. Correct color, get back to printing. Cool. Okay, now it's going to go for hours, so we will not be interrupted again. Matco trucks drive around here. I know I've seen one around. It's just remembering. Realistically, I need to like drive around with this in my car at all times, so I can then grab, like, if I see one, I can pull over and, you know, stop. I had a neighbor with a Matco truck for a while. That was super nice. Just stakeout shops till one arrives. I mean, realistically, the easiest thing to do would be to find a local shop, stop in, ask them when their Matco guy shows up, if they have one, and then show up that. That's the easiest thing. You can always call 800 number. As somebody who used to be I was a Matco tool sales rep for a while. I drove a Matco truck. That was a job I've had in my life. It was a business I owned. It's a franchise. I would say that's unreliable. Because if some random person's like, hey, I need to get some stuff warrantied, I'm not gonna make that a priority in my week to meet that person. Like, I'll tell them, hey, I'll be here, come meet me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to meet them. You don't make any money on warranty tools. So, okay. First side is together. Now there's a Z support bracket. Okay, there's a pair of Z support brackets. So next up, we got to put in 2 more M4s into the side of this extrusion for a support block, and then the pulley, then another support block. Okay, let me find those pieces. Here they are. And the pulleys. Sick. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so I need to put a couple of M4s in the side of that extrusion now. In here. Hey, that one went in really easy, so it was probably the wrong one. That would be my luck. Oh yeah, that one went in really easily. I must have used the wrong one. Hey, that one went in pretty easily too. Awesome. Great. All right, let's line these two up. Honestly, they don't look like they're too bad right off the bat. I think these use M4x10s. Yes, these use M4x10s. Different size hardware, 10s. All right. Put a little Loctite on these. Hex wrench. All right. Hex wrench through the hole to line it up with the roll-in. A little dab will do ya on Loctite. Man, I'm shaky today. Cool. All right, leave those loose for the second because I've now got to put another bracket and a pulley in here. This uses a single motor dual Z rod. So there's dual Z lead screws, but there's only a single Z motor on this build. So it gets belt drive between the two. Between the other two. Uh-oh. I just realized something. When I positioned, dang it. When I slid this to line up with this, it didn't bring the other two roll-ins with it. So I need to loosen all of this up and slide it back so I can get those lined up. That makes sense, but it's annoying. All right. Okay. Slide this to line those back up. There's one. Where's the second? Oh, they slid. Slid. Okay, there we go. Now, this can go on here, and it gets M4 by 12s. There's not enough M4 by 12 hardware. I've got to be using something wrong here. Unless I'm just looking at this wrong. I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second. Mad Cat, welcome in. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, loosen that. Now I can slide this whole thing back to this bracket, this alignment bracket. Great. That in place, I can tighten. Great. Cool. Yeah, these M4s are like maybe a little sloppy because even this hex driver and my LTT screwdriver is sticking in them just a little bit. And this is not, I don't think this is a size I use exceptionally often. Fabrico, welcome in. Hello, hello. All right. Now, MakerMind Nexus, welcome in as well. Hello, hello. You need to update the Thangs link in the description. What's wrong with it? I mean, I believe you, because I keep reusing the same. Problem is I keep reusing like the same error description over and over and modifying it, so I'm sure there's errors. It always happens. HTTPS error. Okay. Let me check it. Paste, go. Yep. Huh. That's weird. What if I just... Thangs. I think there's something wrong with Thangs. Thangs.com. Yeah, Thangs.com opens. I don't know. Let's paste it. Let's paste that in and see what happens. Remove www. Yeah, that's basically kind of, it's updated now. So it did remove a www. Cert's expired. That specific link in some way, whatever. It's updated. Thank you. It is updated. Okay. Mount the lead screw bracket. Skip when done in one step. Insert the pulley, the closed belt, insert the lead screw. Okay, so the lead screw, it's got to go through. So there's a pulley and another bearing. I'm going to line those up quick. They basically are lined up. Got lucky there. And this pulley goes between the two bearings. Cool. All right, all right, all right. Then tighten the grub screws. I'll make sure the lead screw is perfectly straight up and up. Tighten the screws in the upper and lower lead screw brackets. Oh, okay. They want me to make sure I'm not kicking this with it. That's not easy to do. Dodge Charger, welcome in. All right, I'm gonna check. I'm using a caliper to check the distance between the rod and the lead screw from both sides. Make sure I'm not kicking it. 72.5. Hair? I think it's fine. All right, I can tighten the lower mount then. And I can tighten the grub screws on the pulley. Fabrico coming in with the gifted memberships. Thank you, Fabrico, for the 5 gifted memberships. We've got Mr. Tiberium, Valkyrie Builds, Gert Jan Brink, Steve Clark, and Travis Smartly getting memberships thanks to that. Thank you, thank you. Fabrico does rock. Fabrico does rock. Always wonderful to have the support of Fabrico for my projects, for sponsorships, and they sponsored me at Rocky Mountain last year, and popping in and hanging out in the chat, helping out too. So always appreciated. Boop. I gotta put a little Loctite on this grub screw as I'm putting it in here. Hector is awesome. I do not believe it's Hector behind the keyboard. It's probably Shammy, I'd assume. But Hector is awesome. So Shammy. And fire sales, yeah. I know somebody on Discord was saying they got a pretty good +4, cheaty +4 last week. All right, I want to make sure it's not all the way down on here. Okay, tighten this grub screw. Cool. Cool. BB's 3D, welcome in. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Now I just need to repeat everything I did on the other side. But I think I need to change out, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I don't have enough M4 by 12. I put a button head in the clamp for the rod, for the Z rods, and I think it should have been a socket head, not a button head. So I'm going to swap that. I've got 4 socket heads, and I think that's what I need to be. I see black and red VZ bot, and all I can think is Verizon. Interesting. I don't have Verizon Internet anymore, so there's that. All right. This is the one build, like I've held off on doing a black and red build until this one. I don't know. Voron always felt boring to me being black and red, but a VZ bot kind of feels like it's just right, which is silly because it's the default color scheme for both. Maybe because it's not so much red, like a stealth burner is a rather large chunk of red in the middle of a build, whereas this doesn't have that many accent pieces. I don't know. But here we are. Take the screw out. It doesn't say to use socket heads here, but looking at the hardware I have left, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. All right, tighten, cool. All right, now second verse, same as the first. I got to do the exact same thing on the other side. Ding. To know of any good replacement cameras because it's awful on the A1. Nope. I do not know anything of that. I'm pretty sure it's just a USB camera, but I don't know that it's going to be happy with any USB camera feed. Yeah. All right. Let's see about the OBSBot camera for a different perspective. Different perspective. Hi. Faded shirt. Anybody? Whole bunch of hot ends? All right. We got to put our next bracket here, which means I need to get a bunch of M4s in here. Are you zoomed in? Huh. Why does it seem like that view is zoomed in? It's cropped. Why is it cropped? Why is this image cropped like this? This is weird. How long has the OBSBot angle been all cropped and weird? Fit to screen. There we go. Weird. I don't know when that happened. I didn't do that today, so maybe it's been like that. Just got the OBSBot Tiny 2 Lite. It's awesome. Yeah, this is the tail air. Hey, the image quality isn't the most amazing thing ever, but like, it's a fun camera and it allows me to do things quick that I can't do otherwise. Like changing camera angles on the fly. I'm gonna try going the other way with this roll in. Come on. Bing, pop. Pop. Pop all these in place. I'll have to send you a photo of my ERCF build. It's pop pink, pop green ASA. Looks like an 80s puked all over, like the 80s puked all over it. Love it. I think my positron is going to be pop pink and pop blue. I think that's what I've decided on for the positron. Just to be garish. Post it in Discord. Are you in my Discord? I don't even know if that's linked in the description at the moment. Nomad's in New Hampshire, it looks like, with Joel. So he's not here to be our Discord link dropper. And feel free to consider boosting my Discord too, so I can get a permanent link, because that would be great. So annoying that that's tied to a boosted server. Okay, get those all lined up. Nomad doing great with it. Yeah, I heavily appreciate Nomad for the setup on Discord. It is... I very, very much appreciate that. Did I just grab an M4 by 10? I might have. I felt a little short. No, it's 12. These just feel like they should be like M4 by 14, not 12. Because like they only go in a millimeter or two into these T-nuts. Hello, RJ Repo Man. Okay, you changed your name. I see that same profile picture attached to a new name. Dat Mammut. Hello. Line up some roll-ins. I wish I could just copy paste. I did all this once already. Just let me copy paste the work. Can I do that? Is that asking too much? It's not the Matrix. Yeah, I know. At least we don't have access to it like it is. There's a book series I really enjoyed by Scott Meyer called something magic. What did they call it? Something magic. But it's all about the world being a simulation, and a bunch of hackers discover that Magic 2.0. That's it, Eric. Yep, the Magic 2.0 series. And it's a bunch of hackers who like become wizards by manipulating the code of the Matrix, effectively, that we live in. It's a silly, lighthearted. If you like Douglas Adams books, it's not quite to the Douglas Adams level, but it's like that kind, that vein of nerdy, funny books. Or, well, Douglas Adams, yeah, no, that's not what I mean. Pratchett. I was thinking Pratchett, not... I was thinking like Discworld, but... yeah. Not as good. I enjoyed the series, though toward the end it got a little... But, you know, whatever. Actually, the last book was actually good. I shouldn't say that. The second to last book was The last book was good. Have a great stream. Have to do some adult things. All right, Makermind, thank you for stopping by while you could. Appreciate it. Stupid adulting. Yeah, I hear you. You said nerdy, now I got to read them. It's a fun series. It really is. I really enjoyed it. All right. Our little alignment bracket thingy again. Switch the op-spot angle. Excuse me. I burped. Fresh monster. All right. This bracket lines up this rod to this front extrusion. All right. Now I can tighten these in. Yeah, see, he's like a little stuck on the bit. Shrimp Father, aka Martin, welcome in. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Double check the tightness of the rods. Cool. Now we got to put 2 more roll-ins in here for the other mount. The lower mount for the lead screw. Hey, look at that. That one rolled in nice. That one rolled in nice. Now this one. All right. I'm using the camera to check my work rather than lean over and look at it. All right, now I'm going to check alignment of these. And they get M4 by 10s. All right, I've got to look at this. Can't do that blind. Okay, M4 by 10. Are the holes offset or your eyes crooked? I don't know what you mean by holes offset. Could be crooked eyes. Man, I got lucky on that alignment. I got real lucky on that alignment. Okay, now this bracket goes on top of that. And then a pulley sits in between the two. bracket. Pulley comes next. Where did I just put that other screw? There it is, underneath my screwdriver. Are the holes to one side? Oh yeah, holes on roll-ins are to one side. Yes. Yeah, roll-ins because so a roll-in only has a hole to the one side. Try and get a way that I can show you this. It only has a hole to the one side because the other side has a spring-loaded detent ball, and that's what kind of holds it in place and keeps it from sliding around in the extrusion. Otherwise, it would just rattle and freely slide up and down your extrusion. That ball puts a little pressure on it to keep it in position. So there needs to be room for the spring in the ball. Now, before I put this pulley in, I did it in place last time, but I'm gonna do it before I put it in. I'm just gonna pull the grub screws out and put a little Loctite on them. Always Loctite your grub screws. Thought you had too much coffee. I mean, maybe you have. I can't speak to that, but you were right this time. Maybe you have, but you were correct this time. All right. Now this pulley goes in between here, and then our lead screw goes down through that. All right. That's lined up through there. Now I just need to check, see if they want me to make sure, because there's no registration points for that lower bracket. Because there's no registration points for the lower bracket, I could easily slide it one way or the other and shift the position of this lead screw up top. So I need to check to see if that's happening here. I'm going to do so by measuring high up on it. Looks like right around 72 millimeters and right around 72 millimeters. Cool. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll tighten the screws in that bracket. You allow us to get up close and personal and see a lot more than you see in videos. Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part with videos. Like, I know I suffer from it too. When I watch somebody else's video, and I'm like, I want to see 5 more seconds of that section. And you just don't. But when you're making a video, you got to keep the pace moving, and it's hard. That is one thing that live streams are excellent for. It's annoying to go through a live stream afterward and find stuff, but they're really handy for this. What's the biggest difference between a VZ bot and a Voron? Ugh. The design philosophy is totally different. Realistically, they're not that different. They're both Core X. Well, no, they are. I don't know. They're both Core XY machines and enclosed frames, but that's about where the similarities end. You know, this uses a single Z motor to control both of these lead screws we just put in. That's why they have pulleys. A belt drives both of them. The belt routing is totally different. The belt spacing is different. My particular version of it uses all-wheel drive kind of by default, whereas Voron, that's a mod. Vorons are, okay, well, there's a very good point. CNC components are extremely common and popular on VZ bots. They're not on Vorons because Voron's design philosophy is they want you to be able to build their machines with printed parts and off-the-shelf parts. They want you to be able to build their machines with readily available components. Having to have things CNC machined is not readily available. It's becoming much more available, but it's not readily available. You can't just walk into Grainger and order, you know, CNC components. Whereas you can order an SSR and a Meanwell power supply and probably even NEMA 17 motors. So, or Gates belts. Yeah. All right. Cool. We got our rods in, which means we are on to bed assembly, it looks like. So, next step, bed assembly. I think I'm going to pull this out of here, pull this off the bench and pull up the bed. Just so I got to put these guide blocks on, the guide rod blocks, and the, oh, and yes, that was not a dumb question. Totally not. Are there any unreleased printers you are excited about that you can tell us about? Nothing I can tell you about, but I also don't, I guess it doesn't hurt. I haven't signed an NDA. Let's say that. Soval has their version of a Voron Zero coming out. There may or may not be one somewhere nearby. It will not be releasing till the end of the month, but look out for a live stream where we may or may not talk about things. Are you going with the included MCU? I'm building this how the kit comes. So yes, the, what is it, a Mellow spider board? Steve, welcome in, Steve. Hello. Yeah, I don't know if I'm super excited about that new Soval, but I'm curious. My Voron Zero is out of commission right now, so I'm curious to see how it works. All right, here's the CNC bed frame. And I gotta find the other portions of this. Or what the heck am I missing? The support bearing pieces. Oh, I see them. They're in another container. I just need to grab them. Welcome in, Steve. Welcome. I think I saw Just G. You were asking about the MCU. Yeah, I plan to run the MCU that they ship with us. I'm trying to build this as like default stock as I can for right now. So that's where we're at. I might change things later down the road, but for right now, I'm just building it how they ship it. So part of I never leave anything alone. So things take forever because I never leave anything alone. I need to get better about just building things. As I say that, and then the next 2.4 I have planned to build has spiraled out of control already. I think it was Aaron who informed me. Mike Tio, sorry, butchering that. Welcome to channel membership. Thank you for the support. It is greatly appreciated, Mike. Are you planning on fastening this beast to the concrete for maximum speed? Don't know yet. I don't know where it's going to live yet is the problem. My studio might need to be like... I need to change some stuff probably in the not too distant future, especially if I take on a bigger project I'm looking to do. So, I don't know right now. I would like to, but I also need to move things regularly enough that I don't know about bolting it down. And it might just be funny to make a video of it dancing around. Yeah, so we'll see. All right. Okay, so the LNK10 LUUs use M4x10 hardware to mount to this. So what I'm going to do is block this up on 1, 2, 3 blocks. So I can then drop these down through here. Each one of these drops into the corners. And then each one gets 4 M4 by 10 screws. Yeah. If I could hold on to that. Little Loctite. And start putting this together. grab the bigger bit for my precision screwdriver. Running in screws like this is going to be easier with the LTT precision screwdriver than it is with the big one. Just to get them started. I'll tighten them with the big one. Man, I am so very shaky today. I haven't had that much caffeine. I don't know what the deal is. These bearings are all greasy too, which is now on my gloves, I think. Low blood sugar? Maybe. I haven't eaten enough today. I had lunch, but I haven't eaten dinner yet. How do you feel about belt style 3D printing? Worth the money? No. The quality is just not good. Slicing technology is too far behind with that. I think slicers are really holding back belt printers. It's really neat. I would love to see it expand. These two holes are rather tight to those screw heads. It seems like there should be socket heads in here, but I don't have M4x10 socket heads in this that I see. Oh, son of a... Who can identify what this is? Yeah. The kit came with a whole set of these that aren't in there, because the instructions make no mention of these at all. Pretty sure Daniel and I didn't use them. All right, cool. So I have another thing to talk to Simon about. It wouldn't be too hard to put these in the top, but not the bottom. Oh well. Steve, you didn't use them. Honestly, what I could do, I could order some. I probably have 90s somewhere. Like the instructions show 90s that aren't in the kit. Here, let me show you. So it shows these 90 corner pieces that aren't in the kit. So if I really care, I could order some of these. I think I have a handful of these around. I could just get some more roll-ins and I could do up the frame with these. Maybe I will. If I'm trying to get this thing to go fast, it wouldn't hurt. But yeah. Didn't see those earlier, and the instructions absolutely don't mention using them. So, oh well. We're continuing on now. Oh, yay. More often than not, those aren't square anyway, and I don't like driving set screws into extrusions. I do not disagree with either of those sentiments. I don't like those things, but I'm trying to build this how they intended to be built. Oh well. Yeah, I don't like bottoming out into extrusions either. You're just asking to deform something, which is going to could cause misalignment or issues. These button heads barely fit into the hole openings for these bearings. This thing's going to be like a clothes washer walking across the room to unplug itself? Yeah. Potentially. Potentially. Did you switch yours to 24 volt yet, Steve? I think I'm going to wait for Kraken motors and just leave it 48 volt. But I'm waiting for Kraken motors with longer shafts for my Trident. Biney, hello. All right. The update BIOS on your server. Good luck, Dodge Charger. Good luck with that. Hopefully it goes smooth. I purposely do not update the BIOS on my servers. Fabrico has some new open beta ones that look to be more powerful than the Krakens with 55mm shafts, but no torque curve yet and not high temp. Yeah, those do look interesting. Rev 1 didn't have the thermistors. I want the thermistors, but I think they're on Rev 2 now that does have thermistors. Those are interesting. Definitely curious, but I want to try out the Kraken motors. We'll see. We'll see. But for my Trident is 3D experiments, lurking and working on CAD. Good luck with your project. I stopped working on CAD to stream, and I'm going to go right back into CAD as soon as the stream's over. I have a few parts for this week's video to finish yet. My Trident uses 9mm belts, so I need the longer shafts for bearing supports. And I want to try, I don't know. I've got superpower motors in that right now, which I don't think are the right choice. So I'm going to try the superpowers, then swap to Krakens when I can, and compare. All right. Let's see if I can tighten these in here. These are like, yeah. See, like that one won't tighten down in. Do not love that. I should stream CAD and let you have a sneak peek. Folks on Discord already got a sneak peek of this week's project. I know that. But maybe later. We'll see if this goes as smooth as it's kind of going. Minus the fact that we found that I missed those brackets. It's going smooth, so we might be done sooner than I necessarily anticipated. All right. There. Make sure these are tight. Now this one's tightening in there. Dang it. The holes are like, if the button head hole, if the button head is 6mm, the hole is like 6.1mm or something. It's just so not the right call. These should have been socket head screws. These should have been socket head screws. They don't need to be button heads, but they only provided button heads. Also, these button heads are ever so loose on the tolerance. If they're supposed to be 2.5mm, they're probably like 2.6 on the hex tolerance, so also not ideal. All right, that's just how it's going to be. Okay, there's those. Now it's time for the lead screw nuts. Where are those? Here they are. Lead screw nuts. Excuse me. Trying to check something quick. Error. Cool. Okay. All right. Lead screw nuts. What holds these in? M3 hardware. Sure. So this is the... These are not the like thoroughly coupled. They're the ones that have like the dovetails. So they allow for a little bit of misalignment. So hopefully reduce Z-banding. Not the Oldman, but like similar concept. Can someone post a link to the Discord, please? I will do it in a second. Invite. Never. Generate link. Copy. I don't think that worked. You know what? I forgot. Discord doesn't let me copy invite links lately. Yep. When I do, it does that. Seriously, I hit the copy button and it copies that. So could please somebody on my Discord provide the link to them? Yeah, I don't know what is wrong with Discord, but it does that to me every time. Don't see it on my channels or website. The problem is I can't put it on my channels or website because I don't have a permanent link. Your server needs to be a certain like boosted level. Your server needs to be boosted up to a certain level to have a permanent link. So I have to generate a link every time somebody asks for it. So I can't put it on a website. Yeah. I don't understand why, but okay. This is usually where Nomad is the handy one to get that fixed up. All right, so these attach, mount those, and M3x10 attaches the Oldmans. The Oldmans attach with M3x10s. Thought Discord was the easy one. It's easy if you're a big enough server, but when you're a server that's kind of starting out, not so easy. I guess that's the best way I could put it. I don't know. I also was in over my head and Nomad set it up for me, so. Because I got overwhelmed trying to set one up. M3x10. All right. Missed the trash. All right. Oh, wait. Nobody can post a link because nobody else can post a link because chat is filtered that way. It's not letting me post a link into chat. Okay, Zach, can you post the link on Discord so I can at least copy it? Because the problem is I can't copy a link off Discord. It doesn't let me. The invite link, that is. So if you could post it in the live chat supplemental, maybe? Throwing us in here. Oh, portable mode, OBS, got it. Yeah, it's dumb. So many dumb things coming together at once. There we go. Thank you. Copy message link. Oh, Steve got it. Thank you, Steve. Here, I'll pin that. Pin message. Discord is pinned. Thank you, Steve. I don't know why. I got to look into that. I keep forgetting about it. That Discord a while ago, when I go to copy an invite link, it doesn't. It copies the hidden text, not the actual link. Joke's on you. That's my server. You dick. Dang it, that's not what I wanted. It's yours, was kidding. Oh, okay. I didn't click it, I just let it go, so. That would have been funny. That would have been funny. Oh, okay. So these, the Oldman, I have to, the Gary Oldman, every time I say Oldman joint, I think of Gary Oldman. It's actually a Rickroll. All right, so the Oldman needs to go this way. Dang it. Never gonna give you up. That's the, I don't remember the next lyric. Guess I haven't been Rickrolled enough as of late. All right. I actually love that song. Funny, I forget where it was. Somewhere earlier today, YouTube legitimately recommended Rick Astley music to me, but it was like a new video of him covering something. It was like just off his YouTube channel that YouTube just randomly was like, you should listen to this. Because I listen to YouTube music a lot because I have YouTube Premium. And it was like, no, thank you. Especially, I was in a metal mood today. I was like, that's an odd recommendation for today. All right. All right, all right, all right. Tighten, 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 tighten. Cool. I'm going to put a little dab of grease on these Oldman joints. Getting Rickrolled by YouTube, yeah, basically. These Oldmans are like all brass ones, so I'm going to put a little grease on them. I Rickrolled my college professor a lot, but the killer was I uploaded a picture of Rick Astley to his digital photo frame in the office, and he didn't notice for 3 months. Now that's S tier right there. Good work on that one. That's good. All right, grease this one. I'll switch cameras. Boop. Oh, of course, the camera's not quite pointing where I want it to be. There we go. I visited campus a decade later and he remembered. I'd imagine. Sounds like a properly annoying prank, so. Does anyone have any experience with PCB design? If so, what software do you use? I've used KiCad to good result, but I'm not any good at PCB design, so take that with a grain of salt. But I've had luck with KiCad. K-I-C-A-D. Somebody on my Discord, I'm forgetting offhand, somebody on my Discord is very good with PCB design. If anybody remembers, or if you're in here, please chime in. All right. All right, this stuff needs a bit of a wipe down. It's greasy now. The bearings were greasy before. So I'm just giving this alcohol wipe down quick before I go putting it in the machine, and it's hard to get to this stuff later. Also, there's a little bit of like schmoo on this from the transport, shipping, packaging. All right, 1, 2, 3 blocks out of the way. Wipe down these bearings a little bit. Y'all amaze me with PCB design. It's like I do chemistry, but electronics confuse me. Everybody has their thing, you know? Like, Ruby is a brilliant woman, but she's not amazing at math. I'm good at math. Like, people have their things. Things that click for them and some things don't. Chemistry, that stuff never clicked for me, that's for damn sure. So, all right. Cool, I think we are ready to put this into the frame. I gotta get the frame back up here and this Z-axis out of the way real quick. Frame. Oh. All right. Now, I'm gonna move this gantry out of the way so we can get the Z-axis up in here. Let me see if I can get the other camera angle down in here a little bit as a pseudo top-down. I really need a real top-down angle at some point. Problem is my desk is like in the middle of nowhere in like studio terms. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I'm gonna put a little grease on the lead screws because these are, again, brass lead screw nuts. Okay. And time for this thing. I've got it backwards. There's a tab back here where like the Z chain will mount. All right, you know what? I'm gonna put a little grease inside of the bearings too, quick. With the grease gun. Now is the time. Like packing these with grease. It's all gonna schmoo out the top when I push it in, but gotta get it in there. It's not gonna hurt to get it in there anyway. All right, rod. Now lead screws. All right. Cool. Man, that's going easy. All right. This is so floppy. There are top supports for these. And get this grease off the top of here. Wipe that down. All right. Cool. Next step is the build plate. Place the bed assembly on the rods. Mount the bed plate to the frame using M350 countersunk with springs or silicone dampers on each corner. I forget what it comes with. We'll find out in a second. Oh, I thought the bed was pre-assembled. We got to put the heater on. Wow. Holy shiny. Phew. Holy shiny. Let's get the machine out of the way for a second so I can put this bed heater on. This bed is shiny. Is it a mains heater? Yes. I believe it's a mains heater. Or maybe it isn't. Well, here, I look at it. Yeah, it's mains. 110 volt. Look how shiny that is. Can you see the camera? Not quite. I had the VZ bot in the bottom of it. That's neat, but I don't know why they did that. I don't know that I care for that. Like, cool, you put the VZ bot logo there, but the bed heater is going to cover that. And now I have an area where the bed heater won't contact quite as well. It's like a millimeter deep, but it's 0.26 millimeter deep. It's not even a millimeter deep. It's like 0.3 millimeter deep. Still, it'll probably smush into there. Not something I would have chosen to do. But it says VZ-Bot. This camera angle will see it better. VZ-Bot 235 down here, and it has the build volume 235 by 251 by 8 millimeters. So that's the dimensions of the bed. 8 millimeter thick, I assume. 7.7, 7.8 millimeter. So pretty close to. It's probably started as an 8 millimeter blank. Well, it's countersunk screws. I have to go this way. So the heater has to go on the bottom. Yeah, because the screw holes are countersunk. Probably started as 8 millimeter, and they probably took a few thou off when they machined it down. So, okay. I'm going to give this a wipe down. Alcohol. Being 0.2 millimeter deep, I'm sure this heater will squish into there a bit. Tempted to put a little thermal paste in there, but I don't think that's a good idea. Clean my hands off a little bit from touching all the greasy stuff. No worries. Oh, I shouldn't talk to her. All right, let's see where this goes. That looks like a really good positioning. The heater's just a little smaller than the bed. Let me measure. I don't know where my tape measure is at the moment, so the heater's 220 by 220, it looks like. Yeah, the heater's 220 by 220, and the bed is 235 by, as they say, 251. No, 241. Where are they getting 251 from? It's I guess it's 251 to the edge of this front lip. Sure. Do you hear about the company that makes custom build plates? You can put your logo on the bottom. Yeah, Ember Prototypes. Ember Prototypes. I think they're not doing it at the moment. Like, they're doing it, but they got overwhelmed with orders, I believe. So they're not taking orders at the moment. I believe they're just over the border in Vancouver. Who needs a tape when you have huge calipers? Yeah. I needed those huge calipers for the project I'm working on, so I've had them forever, but I just finally pulled them out and put fresh batteries in them. Good potty, Nori. Good potty. She just peed on the pee pad in her cage. Okay. I'm gonna check. 7.76. Yeah, I eyeballed that pretty good. I'll take it. Of course, I eyeballed it, and then the tape, the peel, peeled back on me. Trying to eyeball off the holes so that the holes that are in this are kind of centered to, yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Good girl, Nori. Hey, Hagantic coming in with the gifted memberships. That is very appreciated, Hagantic. We've got, who's getting memberships? Thanks to the 5 gifted memberships. We got Matthias Amorim. Sorry, I'm sure I probably butchered your name. Chris Blake, 83. David B, Jody C, and Jonathan Gustafsson. Thanks you, Gustav. Yeah, I got that right. I thought I butchered your name too. Thank you for the gifted memberships, Hagantic. It is appreciated. All right. Okay. I meant to order one of those rollers. Still need to do it. Now you're going to have the 3 horsemen, Mandic Labs, the Voron, the Rat Rig, and the VZ bot. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. What else am I missing? I'm missing a Havort now. So I'm missing a Havort. Is Havort development on hold if Mirage is kind of MIA? I shouldn't say that. Mirage is living life. But I'm missing a Havort and a Annex Engineering build. Zachary, how's the build going? We're trying to live boot Windows and a USB clone. Oh boy, good luck with that. Build's going very smooth, I think, actually. Minus the few things we missed that weren't in the instructions, but hey, can only do so well, right? All right, I didn't get that as centered on there as I would have liked. It's like this way, just a little bit, but I'll take it. They don't count. A lot of people like Annex Machine, like the Annex K series. Havort, I'm just curious, like NEMA 23s, and like the Havort does a lot of weird and cool stuff. But I'd like to build one eventually, but the lack of kits is a problem. I don't bother with self-build. It's hard for me to justify self-sourcing builds these days. Didn't even know Havort was still around. Havort's still a thing. Mirage C kind of stepped away, I think. Have a Havort, it's super cool, but yeah, it's a pain. Yeah. 10 gig port, but it's still extremely slow. Honestly, I generally find your higher speed ports are not your most reliable ports. USB controllers are so freaking iffy on boards these days. Okay, bed assembly is assembled with the AC heater on. Now I gotta find the silicone bed spacers or springs. I know I saw them. I don't know if they're in this hardware box. Yes, they are. They're in this hardware box. Hi, dude. USB Thunderbolt engineer over here. Yes. Yeah. 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 Thunderbolt's a whole nother level. Like, I've got my main computer is so fun. My main computer, my main workstation has Thunderbolt. Well, it has USB. No, it has Thunderbolt. It has Thunderbolt 4. Zombie Hedgehog, welcome in. My main workstation has Thunderbolt 4 on it. It's an AMD computer, but it does have Thunderbolt before they went to USB 4. And it has 2 Thunderbolt ports, but I can't plug 2 Thunderbolt hubs into those 2 ports. What I have to do is plug one Thunderbolt hub into one of the ports, and then plug the second Thunderbolt hub into the first Thunderbolt hub. It's downstream port. That's the only way I can get it to work. It works when I do that, but if I try to plug both into the Thunderbolt ports on the board, forget it. Resource allocation, yeah. And running Thunderbolt on my computer takes PCIe lanes because it is kind of a PCIe thing. And as such, my 3090 Ti is running at 8x, not 16x, because I'm giving up Thunderbolt or PCIe lanes to the Thunderbolt card or controller. So, and I can't use one of my PCIe ports either on my board, one of my slots. Okay, we got the heater on here. I'm not going to put the build sheet on till in there. 8x life, yeah. Is what it is. I can't justify the expense of going to a, I'd really like to build a Threadripper system because I really need PCIe. I had to take out my capture card because I ran out of lanes. And I have a Thunderbolt, not a Thunderbolt, a U.2 SSD that I had in there that I had to take out too because it was in a carrier card in a PCIe slot and couldn't use that either. Okay, now machine back up. So we can put the build plate in. The build plate gets M3 by 50 screws. Countersunks. I gotta find them. They let Threadripper go. I don't think they're I mean, they updated Threadripper last year. It's on Zen 4 now. So it's like 7000 series Ryzen. They've updated it a bit. It's just so wicked expensive. Like, Thunderbolt, it's like, yeah, what do you call it? Oh, hell. Oh, won't be too long. You'll be struggling to move this thing around. It's a tank. Oh boy. Thanks for the warning. Honestly, I'm getting used to tanks. Everything's big and heavy these days. I mean, the last couple of machines I built, my Boron, my 2.4 is getting heavy because it's got CNC parts in it now. The rat rig is a beast. I can lift it myself, but it is not fun, and I really shouldn't do it. They call for M3 by 50 screws, but I only have M3 by 40 countersunks. I'm going to assume if I'm using the silicone spacers and not the springs, that's it. We'll be curious to hear how heavy this is compared to those. I need to get a shipping scale so I can weigh things more. Is that the Trident guy? It is the Trident guy. Look at that. I need to get a shipping scale so I can be weighing these things. Okay. I'm assuming that this is the screws I'm supposed to be using here because I don't see what else I would use. Collaboration with LTT, custom 3D printed computer with 3D printed water cooling. My contact that I talked about that with is gone. I actually talked to LTT once about doing a 3D printed computer build because I felt like the one that they had done to that point was like, eh. But then the contact that I spoke to about it isn't there anymore. I still have contacts over there, but so glad I put the tube in my Trident, using it a ton now. Interesting. I have yet to put the tube in anything. It's going in my rat rig. It's going to go in the rat rig, so it will get there. All right. Soon, hopefully. TM. You need to be careful where you put your tube. Okay. I guess we're going to be using the silicone spacers. It comes with silicone spacers, which are very hard silicone spacers, and springs. I'm not going to use the springs because why would I? I'm going to be putting a beacon on this. That's like the only mod I'm making. That's the only mod I'm making is putting beacon on this right off the bat. So, all right. Build plate going in. Okay. Beacon on every printer. Yeah. I am spoiled now. The few printers that I have beacon on have spoiled me. I need it on everything. I need it on everything. Beacon the world. Yeah. I just got a new one in this week. I wish I wish I could get them to sponsor projects, get them sent over, because I buy every one that I use. But hey, here's what it is. Yeah. I guess if that's like the one thing I have to spend money on, I could be complaining about a lot less. I feel goofy putting one on a V0, but it works. I mean, hey, it works, it works. All right. So these bed knobs. What about cartographer versus beacon? I haven't tried it yet to compare. I haven't personally compared. I have a cartographer here somewhere. I'm probably going to put my cartographer on my Mercury 1 just to try it at some point. But yeah. Okay, I got to put some M3 nuts into these knobs. Nuts into knobs. And that's my bed tightening. Oh wow, this is going to be annoying. These don't fit tight in here. This is going to be annoying to do. Okay, I have an idea. I've got a screw coming up through the bottom of this. And I'm going to go from the top. Oh, okay, I see. I don't need to. The screw's long enough. The screw is long enough that I can... Cart scans just as well. I like the Rev H single body though. Yeah, I like the single body and the Rev H. The BIOS update went swimmingly. Good for you. Glad to hear it. That can go bad. RJ Repo Man, becoming a channel member. Thank you for the support. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you, thank you. All right, that was the ticket. The screws are long enough that I could start the nut outside of the knob and then start the knob. Okay. Let's get the... Just figured out how to do it. Well, welcome to it. Thank you for joining up as a channel member. All right, let me switch to tail air. You can get a view underneath the bed here as I put these knobs on. So knob goes on, screw down through, and then a nut goes on the knob. My glove. I don't think gloved hand's the right call here. Yeah. My glove was getting stuck between my fingers. What's the girth on those rods? They are 10 millimeter rods. 10 millimeter rods. All right. Okay. Two more. Back corner. Knob goes in. Nut. Ah, I didn't start it right. Is there a triple Z mod for this printer? Not that I'm aware of. I am not aware of one. Wouldn't shock me, but I haven't seen it. I've looked at mods for this, and I really there's not any particularly massive changes that people make to it. Yeah, so that I have seen anyway. But I guess that's kind of comes with the territory of not being quite as popular of a machine. Do you need to worry about tacoing? Potentially, non-kinematic bed mounting. But on such a small bed, it's only a 500 watt heater. I don't think it's particularly likely. Possible, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Friend of mine is playing with CAD, trying to rebuild his VZ-330 into a 180. Somebody on my Discord, isn't there somebody on my Discord who has a 180? Am I thinking about the wrong machine? I forget. I think so. All right. All right. Each of those is tight. Cool, cool, cool. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure the distance between the CNC bracket, the frame of the printer, of the bed, and the bottom of the bed. See if it's equal around. Yeah, that one's a little tighter. $16.8. All right. Tighten this one a little more. This one a little more. What got you into 3D printing? I got into 3D printing because I was a custom car builder. And when I say that, I mean that I fabricated and welded and built custom cars from scratch. And in doing so, is there a suggested brand of calipers you use? How long did you get used to metric? It didn't take me too long to get used to metric. I just used cheap Amazon calipers. So no, I don't have any particular brand I recommend. I'm sure better ones are better, but I just haven't justified it yet. I got into 3D printing because I was a custom car builder and I wanted to prototype parts for the cars I was building and or print, pieces that aren't available anymore or random things for the projects. And 3D printing took over my life. So that's pretty much it. I got into 3D printing to make parts for the cars I was building. 3D printing took over my life and I don't build cars anymore. Cheap calipers are probably more accurate than our 3D printers. Different story for professional CNC mill. Very good call. So you are Chip Foose in disguise. I can't draw, and Chip Foose can't shape metal. So I got some things going over him, and he got some stuff over me. So, yeah. So no. Okay. Now it's time for the Z-rod supports. There's some Z-rod support brackets that go on the top of the rods, these machined ones. So we get a M4 roll-in on the underside of the extrusion, M420, M410. Cool. I resisted 3D printing for just a long time since 2D printers sucked so much. Yeah. Still do any car projects, we're kind of over it. My dad's 65 GMC build is still technically ongoing, but I can't get back to North Carolina to work on it. And I can't say more than that, but I haven't built any other cars in a long time. I'd love to. I just don't have the space or time unless I can get some serious sponsorship. So, love to. We'll see. Brackets. Hi, Domino. What's up? Do you want to hang out with Nori? Is that what you said? Yeah, I held off on 3D printing for the longest time, too. I looked at getting a printer freaking years ago, you know, over a decade ago, I was looking at getting, actually it was about a decade ago, I was looking at getting my first printer I wanted to get was CME CNC Eris, I believe. It's Eris? I think it was Eris. No, Rostock. Rostock V2. We've talked about this on stream before, I know, but I've got a challenge for you. Make a Cybertruck look good. No. No. Nope. While I do believe I could do it, I don't think it's worth the time, nor do I want to give Elon the money. Even if I'm not spending it. So no. I'm seriously considering a Factory 5 Gen 5 coupe build. Factory 5s, I've never loved Factory 5s, personally. They're, for what they are, they're really good. But I can't say anything bad about the quality of what they produce. Just the dimensions of everything they build are always off to me as a car builder. Hard to explain. When you see them in person, they're just not their bread and butter. The Cobras, those are fine, but everything else they make, the dimensions and the lines and everything just is weird to me. If you like them, awesome, because they build cool stuff, but not for me. A truck is probably the nicest thing I like. Oh, Gen 5 Cobra kit. Okay, yeah, the Cobra kits are great. I'm not a fan of Cobras personally, but that's just personal taste thing. Like, they're cool. I can acknowledge Cobras are freaking cool cars. They have a hardtop option now. I would like that better. I'm not a huge fan of Roadsters. I can never get comfortable in old convertibles and Roadsters, even with like the little baby roll bar. I'm 6'1". It's got to be a pretty substantial one of those for me to not have to like do that if the car was going to roll over. So, yeah. Are those in there right? Yes, they are. Okay, cool. Put them in here. Cool. All right. So there's a rod support that goes here. Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to figure out like where this rod support's supposed to end up. Huge fan of 57 Vets. One of the last cars I built was a 58? Is it a 58? It was a 58. One of the last cars I built professionally was a 58 Vet. LS3, 430 horsepower. It was the 430 horse one, yeah. LS3, 430 horse, stock frame with an upgraded suspension, and then I like reinforced the frame. A lot going on in that build. So, one of the last builds I did. I feel the same way about the Roadsters. I'm 6'2". The new kit has people up to 6'4" fitting. Okay, that's cool. I haven't seen or sat in one that was that way, so that's more promising. M410. I love the idea of Roadsters, you know? They're sick, but... What are you doing, Domino? Domino's wandering around the studio. I don't know what she's doing. Hi, Nori. I don't think I could show you on camera right now. I don't think the camera would see you, is what I mean. Not a huge fan of bugs in my teeth. I mean, they have windshields, but yeah. She, since Nori's a dachshund mix, she likes to dig. I put some moving blankets in there for a bed for her, and she keeps digging and like tunneling through them. All right. All right, one of those there. I need some M4 by 20. M4 by 20. 40, 20. There's no 20 socket heads? Or button heads? I have socket heads. Nope, doesn't look like there's any button heads, just socket heads. Okay. The instructions show button heads, but they have socket heads. Did this swan lamp ever get painted? No. I think it ended up too big. I don't think Ruby wants to keep it long term. It's up in our living room. It's still there on the wall in the living room, but I don't know if it's going to stay there long term. So it did not get painted. We're too busy with the tattoo shop at this point, so like everything else is kind of back burner for now. Everything is back burner to the tattoo shop because money. How's the shop going? It's okay. I was over there painting yesterday, and this week's video on Mandic Really, this week's Mandic Really video will be another one from the shop, tangentially. The project isn't really about the shop, but it'll be featuring the shop. It is and it isn't, whatever. It's part of this week's video. Won't really be any major changes, but you'll see if you watch the video. Nobody watched the last one, so... I kid. I'm sure plenty of you folks watched the video, but it has performed very, very badly. I did. Okay. Well, I appreciate that you folks watch it. You did make it massive. It was shack-sized. You are not wrong. It was shack-sized. Thank you folks for watching it. It's like, I think it's been stalled at like, I don't think anybody's viewed it in like 2 days. I haven't really seen. I haven't checked because I got discouraged by it, so I stopped looking at the view count. Yeah, it's been stalled for a day or two. Oh well, it is what it is. Like, that's the YouTube game. You can't count on every video being a banger. Realistically, I think I need to retitle it and maybe re-thumbnail it. I think part of the problem might be like the tattoo shop. I might have made too big a deal about the tattoo shop when really that's just a vehicle for like the stuff I made on it. In it. So I think I need to like maybe retitle it, maybe re-thumbnail it, try a different approach. You got to do that sometimes. It's the game. It's just really hard to do that when you're busy making videos. Like going back and retitling a video and making a new thumbnail when you're after the project already and you're on to the next project is just hard. So, or maybe the next video, if the next video does okay, maybe it'll give some boost to the previous video. I don't know. Could. Happens. Sometimes videos take a long time to kick off too. Like, there's no accounting for it. No accounting for it. The one thing I said, and I will say, is anybody who tells you they can predict, pray to the algorithm gods, yeah. Anybody who tells you they can predict how well a video is going to do is lying through their teeth. There's nobody knows. They think they know. We all, and like, just doesn't happen. Not how it works. I found the M4 by 20 button heads. They were hiding here on my bench. So I'll swap these quick. There were M4 by 20 button heads. A video you think is going to do awesome and a video you think you're going to do poor will fool you. Absolutely. I find that to happen more often than not. Videos that I think I'm like, this is going to be terrible, it's not going to do well, They go like gangbusters. The sound panel, my last video that did really, really well was a 3D printed sound panel video. I thought it would do okay. I didn't expect it to do great. It did great. So, who knows? Definitely not me. Definitely not me. I predict the next video will get at least 1 view. I'm gonna keep it on private just for that. Just to prove you wrong. Screw my own business. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. I thought the last video was entertaining. Thank you. Whatever. Honestly, like I said, I really think I missed the mark on the title and thumbnail, probably. It's the only thing I could think. It's the only thing I could try to fix it. So I'm going to try it when I have time. Probably this weekend. Probably this weekend. I will try a new one. Okay. Anytime we get to see your beautiful face. Thank you. You mean Nori, right? I'm sure you mean Nori. I always enjoy videos showing practical uses of 3D printing. Me too. I like playing around and making silly big stuff, but I also just like using printers. And they often become my go-to answer to things, and I'm okay with that. Really nice real-world use of 3D printing. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'll play with it. I think the video could do better if it gets in the right audience, but... Kegel, hello. Welcome in. Ah, dropped a screw. All right. There we are. I'm going to use these brackets, I guess, to check. Mount all the top rods first. Final tighten the rod holding the frame with pre-inserted. Check the movement of the bed by turning the lead screws. You should do something like that guy did with 3D printed Lambo. I think that would be a really good video too. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I too think I should do that. I too think I should do that. All right, that seems pretty good. Tighten this side. Check this side, tighten it. Maybe that's what CAD works for. No, I wish. No, this week's video is about networking hardware. Putting a networking in the studio. I'm printing fenders and flares, not a whole car. I do think a YouTube video titled, "We're 3D printing a car," would perform very well. I think that would do well myself, but we'll see. It's also very expensive to build a car, so, you know, that's a thing. That's a thing. Okay, I gotta tighten these. Where's my hex wrench for this? These 2.5? Whoop, tighten. All right. Watch it be 1/100th scale. I feel like the algorithm would favor that. I mean, my 3D printed RC car did pretty well. That was another popular one. The 3D printed 3D sets build video I did. That video did pretty well. All right, Z motor time. It's time for a Z motor. It's time for a Z motor. Yes, I think the algorithm would enjoy that, but That's the video I found you with. Cool. Time for Z-motor. Yes. Okay. Where is Z-motor? All right. So I need a Z-motor bracket. It's here. But I don't see where the Z-motor is. Ah, there it is. It's still in an LDO box. It's in an LDO box still. Finally got the Reaper RC completed. Cool, Mike. How did you enjoy the build? Interesting. Z-motor comes with a interesting harness for it. Or Z, yes. $100 versus $1,000 3D printer. I mean, yeah. I feel like when you're looking for parts, we should yell out like Blue's Clues. Thanks. Okay, how do these attach? So there's double plates that mount this Z-motor. Next is a torque and then, or Torg. Is it torque or Torg? I haven't looked at the new one yet. I'm not a Mopar fan, so it didn't speak to me. I do want to build a Sakura. I would like to build a Sakura. All right, M4x10s. Everyone say motor. Gene, we were not asking you. Nobody asked you. Do you want to come up and say hi to everybody? I don't know where you're going to sit, but... Hi, Gene Bean. What's up? You helping? All right, these get M4. This is stream. It's official. The stream has officially started. Yes, I know. Jean wasn't here at the beginning of stream, so she wandered her way in now. The door to the studio is open, so she can come and go. She chose to stay out for most of the stream. But she's here now. She's here now. I'd like to see a Toyota Tundra Gen 3 build. Interesting. I'd like to build one of their 4x4s too. I just don't know which one. I'm not a Toyota fan, so the Land Cruisers don't quite speak to me. I drive a Toyota, but that's just like daily driver reliableness. My truck is a Chevy, so... You don't like the Mark IV Supra? I'm not a fan of Supras, honestly. I actually like, what's the latest one? The current gen Supras? I kind of like those. They kind of grew on me, but eh. But no, I'm not particularly a Supra fan. Okay. I like RX-7s much more. Especially, what gen's the 90s one? The 94s? I love those. The BMW M5 Supra. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, the BMW Supra. We can't talk anymore. Yeah, I know that's an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I think it was that I was at SEMA the year that they launched, and there were so many of them. They were kind of cool. And it just grew on me at the event. I actually made an entire video. There were so many Supras at SEMA that year of that Supra. There were so many of them there that I made an entire video that was just every single one of them I could find. That's all it was. So dumb. it got to be a joke to me at a point. Like I kept count of them. I forget how many it was, but there were so many. Okay, the old R34 GTRs, those are sick. Those are sick. I'll give you that. Those GTRs are sick. Yeah. Copy. Paste, send. Talk about a video that got no views. Talk about a video that got no views. There were just so many of them that I couldn't, it was a meme to me that there were so many stinking Supras there, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to film every one I can find. I want to say there was like 70 or 80. I don't think I'm exaggerating that. Boop. All right, so this motor gets mounted to this bracket. Motor gets mounted to this bracket, which then gets mounted to the other bracket we just installed. One of these years I'll find an in to SEMA. I mean, it's not hard to find an in. It's not as hard as it should be to find an in. But what motor is that? It is an LDO max power. I actually don't know max power. 2004? A 2004 is, never heard it called a max power. It's the same motor at the XY. Well, okay, it's the 1.8 degree version of 2004. So an LDO 2004 AC motor. So a 60 millimeter. Oh, okay, so this is a 60 millimeter. The standard Voron ones are 48 millimeters. That's why, or 42 millimeters. So that's why. Bigger. Big boy. Hygiene bean. Okay. Attach the pulley like shown. Excuse me. They show attaching the pulley to this thing, but they don't tell you, like, there's no spacing tool or anything. That's just weird. There's got to be a set dimension for this. All right, grub screws need a little Loctite. LS all the things, yeah. Probably adjusting it later. Yeah, probably, but still a little weird to me. I don't know. I'm used to Vorons with, like, you know, printed tools to align your pulley and such. So when others don't do that, it, like, confuses me for a moment. All right, there's a flat. Get it onto the flat. I'm just going to butt it to the end of the shaft. That's the only thing I can think to do right now. I could probably jump into CAD and figure it out, but I'm just going to set it flush to the end of the shaft for the moment. All right. Now the motor attaches. Mount it to there with M3x10s. 2 more M3, but no, that can't be right. The holes are bigger, they're M4. Interesting. Mount the bracket on the frame with M3 by 10. That doesn't work. They must be M4 by 10. Because the holes are too big. Holes are too big. Let me adjust the obs bot so you can see in here. There we go. All right, so this mounts here. Gotta get a little Loctite on these screws. I'm going to assume this should be centered, but they didn't give any dimensions for where this bracket should be on here. So I'm just going to center it. It's the logical thing. That is the logical thing. All right. Let's break out my big calipers. Get this out of the way. Big calipers. 153. Sorry, Gene Bean, you're in the way. That's darn close. 157. So it's got to go that way. 2 millimeters. All right, let's check it now. I bet the exact location doesn't matter. Yeah, it's belt drive, so it really shouldn't matter. You are right. 155.5 and 154.8. You are right. It shouldn't matter. Here we are. That was probably too much. 154.8, so now it's 155 over here. Yep. $154.8 didn't move. Don't mind me, I'm just being anal. That barely moved. All right, that's good enough. Nighttime for me to go. All right, RJ Repo Man, thank you for stopping by and hanging out and chatting as you have. Appreciate it. If it's a looped belt, moving it one side or the other could tension it. I mean, yeah, it slides back and forth to tension, but you are right that it could affect. I don't know. It really shouldn't matter this much off. I'm like 0.6 millimeter off. I'm gonna go with it. I could chase that for the next 10 minutes, or I could just be done with it. Okay, Z motor is on, Z switch and bed chain. Oh, dang it. Oh, nope. I got it. Did I get lucky? I guess. Don't move. The bed wants to fall now. I made the mistake of moving it. Now the bed wants to fall. Could set it to the desired distance. You are correct. Then I have to do math, which honestly is easy, but okay. Let's switch back to main view. Now I got to put a Z limit switch back here and a drag chain mount over here. Drag chain mount goes here. All right, what's the drag chain mount use? M3 by 10. M3 by 10. That was a nice crotch cam. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Where are the M3 by 10s? I just had them. Here they are. Not really a good way for me to get a view of this, so drag chain mount goes in this back corner here. OF. Only that's that drawer back there. I keep meaning to put a label on that. I have a drawer in that toolbox that's behind me that the only thing in it is fans. So I keep meaning to use the Cricut and cut a label for it. It's my OF drawer. That's a different channel. Yes. Yes, it is. Only benchies. All right. Drag chain mount. How's the build? So far, so good. Pretty smooth for what it is. For me, never having built one before. Pretty smooth. You know what? I don't think I printed the Z mount. I'm seeing that now. I'm pretty sure I didn't print this Z mount. I missed that. So I'm gonna have to print that and do that off stream. Yeah, I didn't print that. I'm sure I didn't. So, all right, that's okay. Oh, and there's a screw that goes in there. What size screw? Finally screwing an M3x50 screw and nut to act as your Z-stop. I don't really need this since I'm doing beacon contact. I like having physical Z switches, but I don't really need that. I will revisit that later. Because since I'm going to be going beacon and using beacon contact, that doesn't serve me a lot of purpose. All right, gantry time. How long? It's 7:45. Okay. I was planning to go till 8. We just finished up the Z-axis. So I think that's where we're going to call it for tonight. I think. You know what? Let me open up Fusion. I'll give you all who are still here a preview of this week's video. Why not? Let me get this thing out of the way. Ooh, yeah, this is getting stout. Steve was right. It's getting stout. It is getting stout. Thanks for doing a video I could watch while at work. Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for watching. It is appreciated. Pretty good timing. All right. Did Fusion open? Hear me out, 24-hour stream. I cannot physically handle that. I have a weakened immune system, and if I work that much, that hard, I usually make myself sick. I would lose my voice like 2 hours in, too. 3 hours, like my voice, I can feel strained already. Like 3-4 hours, my voice starts to lose it. The fact that I did 6 on the rat rig build was amazing to me. I'm gonna open up the project I'm working on and give you folks a preview. This week's video. Why not? Why not? Bright screen warning, flash warning, because white background in Fusion. Boop. But here is this week's project. It is a 10-inch server rack that is 100% 3D printed, except for the screws and hardware, obviously. But otherwise, fully printed, modular. So it can be a minimum if you use just this piece and this piece, which these are the same. So the top and the bottom are the same piece. Just you flip them over, obviously. You can be 4 rack units if you do that. Then there's a 2U middle section, so you can make it 6U, 4U, 8U, 12U, up to you, how many U you want to have. Each of the modular pieces is sized to fit on a Bamboo X1 or I printed them all in the Prusa Core one or the XL, but they all fit on the Core one. I don't 100% know if they fit on a Mark III or a Mark IV, because that build volume is ever so slightly smaller. I think they'll fit on there, but I'm not 100%. I think the only thing that won't fit on there is the 2U blanking plate is too big, but you could print 2 1Us. The 1Us fit. I knew that. So right now I've got it's these cross members, these side pieces, handles. I was working on the top panel right before I came on a stream. I had to like cut off the corners and stuff to get it to fit in the build volume of even the Core one. But 2 pieces for that. Again, this is the same piece, so this will flip over, and it's the same piece back here. So I'm trying to minimize the parts that you need for this. So realistically, it's like, to put it all together, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 4 pieces. You just have to print multiples of those pieces, but that is the design. So 3D printable miniature rack. And the only hardware it uses is server rack cage nuts. So you use server rack cage nuts, 6mm ones, and the sections are held together with them. The handles are held on with them. The top panel will be attached with them. This cross member, that's not a rack unit, that's a cross member that holds the sides together. But then of course the rack units are held in with them. So the only hardware you will need is a pack of server rack cage nuts. Put it together. That's it. Still standard cage nuts, standard 6mm cage nuts. Other size ones should work, but I sized it for these particular ones that I use. I can't 100% confirm other cage nuts will fit as nicely, because it's a real balancing act to get it thick enough that the cage nut still fits on it, and it's not so weak that it's too thin. I printed it out of ASA. So mine is completely printed out of ASA. I think other materials would work fine. I've just been doing ASA because it's my favorite material, and I think it'll last long. Oh, and it's completely support free. Completely support free. You need to test every single cage nut. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I appreciate the integrated supports you incorporated in the design. There are no integrated supports. It's actually support free. So there is bridging. Like each of the, you can't see it. Let me, so it prints like this surface prints, this is the bed surface right there. And so each of these cage nuts has to bridge. There's no supports in there. They just bridge. But I've printed them a bunch of times at this point, and they've printed perfectly every single time. So hopefully it'll last long term. Bearded Printer gifted 1 membership. Thank you, Bearded Printer, for that. Howdy, friends. Welcome in. You joined at the end of stream. Appreciate it. LTX Designs got a gifted membership. Thanks to Bearded Printer. I'm starting to become a huge ASA fan. I'm a big ASA fan. I love that material. It's got an excellent balance of strength, structural strength, printability, UV and temperature resistance. It's my favorite. Yeah, there are stronger materials. There are materials that handle up higher temperatures, but it's a really good balance in my opinion. So yeah. So yeah, that's it. I'm just finalizing the last few pieces of it. And yeah, so what we're doing in the video is putting together the networking setup and security camera setup for Blackthorn, the tattoo shop. And I realized that one of those mini racks was going to be perfect for in that space because it's a really small studio. So awesome. Printed in PPS CF. Yeah, no, thank you. Though it is fairly material, what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, it doesn't require a lot of material. I think I did the math, and I want to say the main frame, not including blanking plates and the handles, but the main frame, I think you could do an 8U in less than a kilogram. I think it's less than a kilogram to do a full 8U frame. So, like, basically the point was, I got one of these Desk Pi rack mates, the little one that they make for Raspberry Pis. This thing's $150, and it's nice, but it's $150. So $150 or 1 to 2 spools of filament. So $20 to $60, depending on what filament you use. You know, I don't know. And I just make printing stuff. So, all right, folks. I believe that's where we're going to wrap it up. I like hooking up a CPAP to my mouth so I can breathe in all the fumes. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, folks. That's where we're going to wrap it for today. I printed a 19-inch rack Pi mounts. Cool. Come here, kiddo. Nori, come say hi. You haven't been on stream yet. Nori's going to pop in and say goodbye as we're heading on out. Say bye to everybody. You want to say bye? Stupid. What? All right, folks. I got to go eat my dinner, get hers. Domino's under the desk waiting for hers as well. So, hi, baby girl. And yeah, hopefully that video ought to be out this weekend, working on the 3D printed rack, as well as the design files, of course, will be released too. So whenever the video goes up, I'll get the design files out there at the same time. So if anybody's interested in checking it out or printing it for themselves, it'll be available. It will be available to Patreon and channel members first, and then like a week later, I'll probably release it publicly. Just try to drive a little bit of traffic to my Patreon to pay the bills. So, and channel memberships. So thank you folks for your support. Everybody who joined, gifted channel memberships during the stream, I always appreciate it. Thank you folks. And before Nori eats me as she's licking my arm, we're gonna head out. So thanks for coming around, folks. We will be back Sunday with a Sunday stream. See you then. We'll probably be back on the VZ bot once again. So bye-bye.